Hey Avish, how's it going?
Hi, sir. Good to see you again.
Yeah, man, I didn't expect us to catch up so soon. I was probably assuming we were gonna catch up after the Boxing Day test, but I don't really mind catching up with you. It's kind of fun, it's cool, and as usual, let's get down to the New Zealand match. It was a pleasant surprise to see Pakistan winning.
Yeah, I mean, much improved performance from Pakistan with bat and ball. Bowling first, restricting New Zealand to 173. I thought it was a score that they could chase down, and they did chase it down. But a few players that really stood up here was the bowling of Fahim Ashraf. Haris Raf bowled well as well. So it was a complete performance. If you look at Fahim's figures, 4 for 20 in 3 for 20 in 4 overs in T20 cricket. That's superb. I mean, 5 runs and over. That's a great economy rate.
Yeah.
To go for it as a bowler in this format. And coming out to bat, I was very impressed with the way Rizwan batted. He's 89, just set up this win for Pakistan. Very attacking approach, which I think he had to do because in the last couple of games you didn't see Pakistan really attacking as much. They just left it to the end and left it to the likes of Hafiz in the second game, and then the captain Shadab did it in the first match, but they just didn't have enough runs to play with. So I was happy that they actually that they bowled first and chased down a score. I think they're a better team when they actually setting chasing the score down. They know exactly what's required of them. Yeah, and their bowling was much improved in this game, as I say. New Zealand, from a New Zealand sense, they'd be a bit disappointed with that score. They probably wanted maybe another 20 more runs. That would have been a pretty decent score, 193. But I mean, they were in a bit of trouble at one stage, and Conway, South African export. We talk about so many of these players just going abroad and playing for other countries. Devon Conway, so he played a good innings there of 63, and he just got them to that score of 173, which is still a good score. But obviously, you got to bowl well. But Rizwan took the game by the scruff and took Pakistan home in the end. So yeah, it was a fantastic win for them. It's a good boost going into the Test series. So it really helped them immensely.
Yes, man, you're absolutely right. I don't think there's anything else to mention except I think it's interesting to see that Seifert was actually the man of the series. I don't know if for some reason I was thinking Mohammad Hafiz was going to be man of the series here, but I guess because New Zealand won the series it made sense, I guess.
Yeah. No, definitely. If Hafiz was on the winning side in the season, I'm sure they would have given him the man of the match. Man of the series award. But Seifert played well in this series as well. In the first game and the second game, he set up those chases for the Black Caps, and made it look quite comfortable in the end. So yeah, you would say the balance of play and the series probably it goes to Seifert, but you cannot. I would think the best innings of the series probably came from a Pakistani player, which was Hafiz in the second match, and it was so unfortunate that he couldn't get to the triple figures. He stranded on 99, hitting the last ball out of the ground for 6. So as I say, this result will give Pakistan a lot of confidence going to the Test series, and let's see how it goes in that Test series.
Okay, yeah. Speaking about the Test series, I don't know if we did our predictions for that. I think I predicted New Zealand to win that. What were your predictions on that?
Yeah, look, I just read an article. It was yesterday about Shadab, the one-day captain, the T20 captain. He's actually going to be missing for the Test series, so that's going to be a bit of a blow for Paki, because he's got that all-round ability with bat and ball. You know, he can bowl. He can take the weight off the quicks, you know, and he can get his 15 overs done in a day. And you know, he offers so much as a low order player as well with the bat. So that's going to be a big that's going to be a bit of a loss for them. Big loss for them. I think Pakistan's best chance of actually getting a positive result, I would think personally, is batting first. You know, putting a score on the board and then attacking New Zealand. You know, with their swing bowling attack, and they've got wonderful swing bowlers, and I think the conditions would help them, would suit them, because in New Zealand the ball does swing quite a bit off the surface. So I mean, the Black Caps have wonderful swing bowlers themselves. So there's two good attacks here in Pakistan and New Zealand, but I think the difference is probably in the batting, and the Pakistan batting is probably a little bit thin.
Yeah,
a little bit thin. I'm not sure what's the issue with Baba, if he's actually going to be fit for that first test. Because I mean, if he Baba Azam, because I think if he goes missing, then that leaves a huge hole in that Pakistan batting lineup. But I mean, they are going to be tested quite severely. The techniques are going to be tested on those wickets. New Zealand, probably they played more Test cricket than Pakistan over the recent past, so they would probably be in better shape. So I expect Pakistan to compete well, but I expect New Zealand to be too strong at the end for them. You know.
What would be your scoreline?
So I would predict New Zealand to obviously take this one. It's difficult to really give a result, because I mean, Test cricket is over so many days. But I would think New Zealand would probably, you know.
Okay, fine. I'll give you two predictions. I'm thinking either it'll be. I think between 1-2-0. I just think they'll win either, or another prediction we could say, if it's a draw, they 1-1. I don't expect it to go any other way. That's my two predictions.
I would probably say, I would probably go on that route as well, of saying that Pakistan, they're good enough to win a test. They're good enough to win a test match, but to obviously do it over two test matches and win the series 2-0 outright is like it's quite a momentous effort, and you got to have a superb bowling attack and
no, not 2-0, but maybe 1-0 with having one match rained off. They could probably hope for that. They take the first one, and they pray that
probably
the second one, and that's it.
Yeah, but yeah. I would go probably. I'll probably go New Zealand 2-0. Probably go New Zealand 2-0 in the series, but I expect Pakistan to play much better than.
Between 1-2-0, I think it could happen that the second test is the real belter, and it could happen. But
most certainly, yeah.
All right, let's get to the next one. I think I don't know what we can discuss much about this one, even though it's our country. So it's funny. All I can say is that the first test is in 2 days, and yeah, man, we need to really bounce back. If we can't win under these conditions, which is more favorable for us, it's pretty disturbing, especially if it's against Sri Lanka.
Yeah, I mean, look. The Proteas are going to be targeting these two test series, and they want to win it quite convincingly in my mind. Yeah. Markram coming back into the lineup is a big boost for them.
Yes.
Up the order, so him and Elgar would open, and Sri Lanka probably they in a rebuilding phase themselves. You know, they've probably come here with much stronger sides in the past and haven't got the results. And South Africa are probably in that same sort of position as well, where they actually are in a rebuilding phase. But, you know, just on home conditions and because SA performs so well in these venues, especially in Centurion and up in Joburg and the Highveld. So I would probably give the series to South Africa 2-0.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that
2-0 to SA.
And I was just thinking
2-0 to SA.
Yeah, I think that Sri Lanka, now they've got Mickey Arthur as coach, he was quite bullish on his team's chances in terms of the bowling attack. I think you're quite confident about their preparation. So even though we're quite bullish in our country, now maybe bullish is too strong a word, but quite confident, I wouldn't write this team off. I feel that if we don't 100% give it, it could be a bit of danger. But obviously, we just got to be watchful. That's all.
Yeah, no, you can never write a team off completely, but I would just say on the basis of the two venues that they're actually playing in, and they pick good venues this time around, especially up in the Highveld where the ball actually does a lot off the pitch, and there's a lot of bounce, a lot of pace, and it's difficult for visiting teams to actually cope with it. And we've seen England last year, especially at Centurion, they struggled as well with the pace and bounce. So it's always when a team from the subcontinent comes to these shows and plays on those types of surfaces that they do tend to struggle, because it takes them a while to get used to the pace and bounce. And Sri Lanka can be forgiven as well, because they haven't had much of a preparation. They only flew down last week Sunday, I think it was. Last week Saturday. So within a week you're trying to prepare for a test series. It's really difficult. And then amidst all the issues that's going on here at the moment with COVID and the restrictions, so forth. I'm not sure if they've had a practice case yet.
I think they did a lot of preparation
because
back
of
home.
what's. They probably had some preparation back home, because I know there was the Sri Lankan Premier League, the T20 T20 tournament there in Sri Lanka.
I read that article about Mickey Arthur.
Yes.
He was quite confident about his team's chances. They did a lot of prep work, so it shouldn't be. It should be competitive.
Most probably.
It'd be a good competitive.
Yeah, most probably. But I would still think it's good to have at least one or two practice matches before the series begins. So it gives the team a chance to get familiar with conditions, acclimatized to it, get their batsmen flowing. But so it's difficult. It's difficult in these times that we're in with COVID and the sort of restrictions that we have at the moment. Especially in domestic cricket as well. I mean, there hasn't been much domestic cricket going on here locally as well because of the virus. So, we will get past this in time, but at the moment, it's really a tough situation. We're in a red zone at the moment, and we need to get out of this and get into that green zone again. So it will go away in time, but, at the moment, it is what it is. We got to be grateful that there is some sort of cricket on the shores.
Yeah, man. I think Sri Lanka only be happy to. I think they're more like, and I don't want to sound disrespectful towards us, but I think they'll just be happy if they just get us over and done with, so that they can get back to England, because that's where the money will be for them. So I don't think results is much of a concern for them. I shouldn't say it like that, but England is a money spender for them. And So
I think England are actually touring Sri Lanka, so
that's why the money will be good for them. TV rights,
it's a good series. Stuff. Yeah, probably. But I would think this series would get some coverage, especially in England as well, because I'm sure England want to know how Sri Lanka are actually going to play in these two test series, and then they can plan for them, when they actually tour there in January. So there's a lot of things to look into. Teams these days do a lot of analyzing of teams. So especially if you're playing your next opponents, you're probably going to be watching that entire series that they're going to be playing with another opposition. So you would get a bit of media attention from the series. But we're just grateful that the Sri Lankan team has actually agreed to come to these shows and play a series. So
it did look up and down there.
You got to be very grateful. Absolutely, you got to be very grateful for that punt, and especially in these times that we're in. So looking forward to some good cricket.
Okay, on a final note, let's get to the exciting one. which is this one. I think you were a bit upset with me because you weren't able to give your prediction on this one. So here we are on the Australia and India for the second test, third test. I think what was your like? You're still predicting Australia to win this pretty convincingly, this whole entire series. I think for me, I didn't make a prediction last week. I think that if India won the second test, then it could be quite fun. That it could be a drawn series, maybe 2-2, depending if they win Melbourne, of course. But obviously, it all depends on the second test. That's all I can say.
Yeah, man. It's amazing how a team's fortunes can change within a week. Because last week on day 2. India were ticking all the boxes in that first test. They were in control. They had a 50-run lead. Yeah, they had a 50-run lead after the after the second innings, and Australia batted and they came out. But the way they imploded on day 3, I mean, I think that's going to be spoken about for a very long time until they really overcome it. And they were scrutinized in the media for it as well, because it was quite an abject performance, quite a pathetic performance from a team, from a quality batting lineup that you expect to perform much better at this level. Mm-hmm. But as I say, give full credit to the Australian bowlers. I mean, the way they bowled, they just never gave the Indian batsmen an inch. There were just no release balls in that innings. It was just relentless bowling from the Aussies, and they were ruthless in their approach. But having said that, things can only get better for India from there on.
Yeah, that's what Kohli said.
Things can only get better, and yeah, in the cricketing sense, they're definitely going to be missing Kohli now for the second test, and he's such a big player. Not just because the runs he scored, but his record in Australia, his record against Australia, that record, it's phenomenal, and he's going to be sorely missed. I haven't really seen a team so far. I mean, I haven't watched India recently in a test match that they played without having their captain, in their ranks. So this is going to be a very different challenge for them. It's going to be more of a psychological game now for them. Just put the demons of the last test behind them. So there seems to be a little bit of an unsettled. It seems to be a little bit unsettled in the Indian camp at the moment with their side. They're not sure who to pick for that second test. But we can give a few suggestions here. I mean, up the order, we know Shaw, he didn't have a really good game in that last test match.
Yeah.
So question marks on him. The wicketkeeper Saha, although he's quite a good wicketkeeper, but question marks on his batting. Shami probably not going to be fit. He's a big player. He was a big player last time around when they won the series. Down under. Who do they bring in? So it's going to be a bit of an inexperienced team that might go out there. A few inexperienced faces. So it's up to the experienced crew of the likes of Rahane, the likes of Ashwin, if Ashwin is going to play, but I expect Ashwin to play. Pujara, these players have got to step up in Melbourne. And we did speak about that Melbourne pitch would probably suit them a little bit better, because it's tended to be quite flat in. You could say placid, dead in the last couple of seasons. If I go back to that Ashes series of 2017, where we saw like close to, I think it was 1,000 runs of something somewhere along those lines. 1,000 runs in 3 innings. So it was a tough place for the bowlers. And then last year, we all know, I mean, it was the last time India 2 were there, I mean, they played quite well at this venue with bat and ball. It was a complete performance from them.
I
So
think it all
they
depends
would have
now if
they would
Australia.
have
It'll depend if they put grass on that Melbourne
they would
pitch.
have happy memories of this.
It'll be quite interesting to see how it'll play, but I don't know if they'll do it. But it'll be fun to see if they put a bit of grass on that
Yeah, I
Melbourne
mean,
pitch.
it's probably going to be a drop-in pitch for that Melbourne game for the Boxing Day test. So, yeah, I mean, it's a sort of pitch. If you get yourself in first 50 balls, there's runs to be scored. So I think whoever actually wins the toss is going to be crucial. Whoever wins the toss is probably going to bat first and probably going to bat once and bat big. So yeah, whoever that is, the only question mark now is I would think India is with their batting. Their opening lineup is not looking very settled. We're not sure who's going to come in, but I would think that Shubman Gill is probably going to come in for Shaw, judging by what we're seeing in the in the reports going around. And KL Rahul probably going to slot in that middle order for Kohli, and KL is probably a much more experienced player. He can play that role in the middle order, but it's going to be a big match for Rahane. It's going to be a big match for Pujara to get themselves back in the series. It's going to be a huge challenge on their hands because the likes of Hazelwood and Cummins, I think I really think they're just warming up here. There's more from the space attack, so it's going to be a huge challenge for India on their hands, and Australia as well.
Yeah,
Australia as well. I think they'll be a bit disappointed with the way they batted in that first match. A lot of their key players didn't get runs. But I mean, if Warner comes back into this lineup, it just makes that lineup look a whole lot more formidable, than what it actually was in the last test match.
No, but then you didn't give your prediction yet for the scoreline. I think, I don't think I gave my one. I think my one is all dependent on this match. That's the problem. But let's say hypothetically, if India win, I think scoreline could be 2-2 if India wins the second test. But I think it could also be if Australia win the second test, then I think scoreline will be more like 3-1 or something. Yes, or maybe 3-0. Who knows? That's probably my prediction.
Look, if India do come back in this test match, it's going to take a huge effort. I mean, by all means. I mean, this is a tough challenge that they're facing them. Then I would think they're going to be quite competitive in the last 2 test matches. But having said that, looking at how the side is set up at the moment, there's only 2 results that I can see going on in Melbourne, and I would think that it'd probably be a draw test match because the pitch might be so flat and so good for batting that you're gonna get such high scores, and there's not going to be enough time to take 20 wickets in the test match. Yeah, and then the other prediction is an Australian win. So if it's an Australian win, then I expect them to win the series quite comfortably thereafter. So yeah, that would be my predictions.
Yes. But though, now that you mentioned the draw, it may not be a bad thing for India because they can still win Sydney, which will also suit them 1-1 going into the final test. Yeah, it'll be quite exciting. Well, although that depends how you look at it. Brisbane is pretty Australian friendly.
It will be quite exciting. But it all depends on, as I say, it all depends on a couple of key plays for India. If Pujara makes a big one, if Rahane makes a big score, then that'll set up a big total for India. But if they do fail again, then it's going to be an uphill battle to get back into this test match. So it's going to be interesting to see how this actually pans out. But to me, looking at both sides now, and both sides, I mean, Australian side is looking much more settled than India at the moment because Kohli is not there. If Kohli was there, it obviously adds a totally different dimension to this match because Kohli is obviously one that's going to step up and lead from the front. So yeah, it seems to be everything seems to be heading in Australia's direction at the moment. But India are good enough to get a draw in this Test match as well. Yeah.
Now I remember that that Test match where Kohli wasn't in, Rahane was captain, and they won that Test match. I know it's a once-off thing, but I think Rahane is such a astute player from what I've been reading. Is that it'll be fun to see how he captains. Obviously it's a bit scary for him because he's captaining in Australia, but I think as Pujara can bat the hell out, bat so well, they just drains Australian bowling that they can make around 400 plus. It should be fun, I think the poor bowlers.
I think 400 would be I think 400 plus would be a superb score if they were to make that score in the first innings, and that would set them up. That and from there on, they can attack with their bowling with their bowling lineup. And you know what? You don't see a lot of 400 scores in Test matches these days, hey? Because bowlers have actually gone a little bit better now.
The pitches have become a bit more bowler friendly also, which is a good thing.
Spicier, yes, most certainly. The pitches have obviously gone a little bit more spicier, but I think batsmen as well. I just feel batsmen are playing too many shots these days. To be honest with you,
that's true.
I just feel you've got to look at each format. And Test match is Test cricket is a game of patience. It's a game of sucking the opposition out, blunting the opposition, and I think good old fashioned batting is what's required in Test cricket, where you blunt an attack, and once you blunt an attack, you make it easier to score a huge total, and that's the job of the openers as well. They've got to make it easier for the middle order. So yeah, that's a challenge that India are facing at the moment with their batting lineup.
It would be interesting though if India played two spinners. I think Ashwin and Kuldeep. But I think if Jadeja is coming back, then Kuldeep won't come in. Unfortunately, it would have been nice to have seen him maybe in Sydney. Who knows? But that depends on if India win Melbourne. Then it'll be kind of fun to see three spinners. But it's three spinners in Australian conditions. That's gonna happen though.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess it's all about the conditions. They would assess the conditions before the toss and see what the pitch is offering. But as I say, judging by what I've seen in Melbourne over the past couple of seasons, I expect it to be a bit of a flat track again. It's going to be tough work for the bowlers there in Melbourne yet again.
Which begs the question: should they play Kuldeep in Melbourne, or should they have three spinners? No, not three spinners. There's a lot of spinners even for Melbourne. So maybe for Sydney it could be a good idea. But then which paceman could they put? That's why I'm like two minds now. Maybe Siraj is not a bad idea. Maybe Saini. It's so difficult. Shame, man. I just say, but that poor guy have to get injured.
I think definitely the selection. I mean, the replacement for Shami would definitely be between those two guys you mentioned, Siraj and Saini. And I would think that Siraj might just get the nod over Saini because of his extra pace that he provides, and you need that sort of extra pace on those conditions. But the other Indian bowlers, they bowled quite well in the first Test, the likes of Yadav and Bumrah. So that bowling attack just needs a little bit of tinkering. So probably one, but I think obviously that the problem lies with the batting more than the bowling at the moment.
Yeah,
so
they've
got to get the batting lineup.
Yeah, they need Jadeja back badly, and they also probably need Rishabh Pant. But then where would you put Rishabh Pant also? And then you also need to get someone like Shubman Gill back. You need these players because.
No, I think probably I would definitely think that Gill will probably get a call up here in this Test match. It's unfortunate that a guy like Shaw, a young player like him, is not going to get a chance again in the series. But probably the selectors are looking to get back in the series, so they would probably make a call with Gill. I'd be surprised if they didn't. I'd be surprised if he was left out. But let's see how it goes. And then KL Rahul, definitely in for Kohli. So those would probably be the two changes in the batting lineup, and then the wicket keeping. If they probably think that they need a little bit more batting, then they would go with Pant over Saha.
Okay. On a final note, I know I might actually regret this prediction because I'm so optimistic of India somehow coming back in Melbourne, but I feel that the scoreline could be. I feel the scoreline could be 3-1 to Australia in total for this series. What's your final prediction, just to confirm it for everybody?
Okay, I'm going in probably. I'm going for a 3-0 scoreline to Australia in the series, because you probably get a draw here and there. So if Kohli was there, my predictions would definitely change a lot. There would probably be a win here or there for India, but at the moment, Kohli not being there, I mean, there's so much. That's such a huge hole in that middle order, and whoever comes in is not going to be doing the job that that Kohli can do. I mean, it's no disrespect to the player that's coming in, but I mean, the presence of Kohli in those conditions and his record against Australia, it's phenomenal. So, he made his decision, and you got to respect that. I think the media have been criticizing him for that, but you got to respect that the decision he made to go home and for the birth of his first child and to be with his wife. So he has every right to make that decision. He's given a lot to this team, so he deserves time to be with his family. So you got to respect that. So it's going to be an uphill task for India. So I would say 3-0 in the favor of Australia.
But if I'm allowed to make a second prediction, there's also another prediction which makes me think that it could be 2-2. If India wins the second test, of course, then I think it'll be 2-2 or maybe 1-1. Okay, fine. That's another 3 predictions. But let me make it simpler. Just make it 2-2. That's my second prediction.
Well, I guess you got to have a lot of flat pitches to get a 1-1 in this series. So let's see how those pitches go. But to me, the pitch that's really going to suit them over the next 3 tests would probably be the next pitch here in Melbourne. That is a pitch that's definitely going to suit India the best. Yeah, Sydney as well. So they do have an opportunity.
Definitely.
Let's see how it goes. But
yeah, I think if India
they do it.
I think a drawn series for India would be just perfect, because they'll retain the series and that'll be it. They don't need to even worry about winning the damn thing, because they win the next 2, which I know sounds impossible now, but Melbourne, they're like baby steps. You win that, then you're like just happy. You've got your 2.
Absolutely.
You've got the retaining, and then they'll be second. Then they'll be like, screw Brisbane. And I know they won't think like that. They will be like just happy they got the series, and then they'll be like, okay, just let them have it. And Brisbane. Oh yeah. Okay, I think it's
going to be interesting. It's really going to be an interesting test match in Melbourne. So
I think there's 3 matches.
Expecting India to come out.
I think there's New Zealand, there's South Africa, and there's Australia. My God, what a festival of cricket!
What a feast of Test cricket we have!
A lot of things to catch up on catch up
weekend.
But doing a lot of
absolutely.
Yeah, man. I don't know how you'll do it, but you're a real cricket fundi. You'll watch it on your TV for hours. I'll be like just catching it up and catch up. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I guess with the lockdown, there's not much you can do. So I'd probably
of course.
I'd probably try and catch as much as possible. So let's see how it goes.
I know the match with India and Australia at 1:30 in the morning. So if I'm lucky, I might catch a few balls and then catch up on later on. I think I'll
catch it up and catch up.
Yes, and then in the morning for South Africa, it's humane time, so that's fine. I'll get to watch some of that. Then New Zealand, Pakistan, I'll catch up some of that as well. So okay, thank God for catch up. That's all I gotta say.
Catch it up and catch up. Catch it up on catch up.
Yeah,
that's how we do it.
Yeah. All right. As usual, it's great having your time, and we will, as usual, get back with our views.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and Merry Christmas to you.
You too,
and to the viewers, and you keep safe.
Yeah,
Talk to you
and
soon.
yeah, and Happy New Year as well. I think we'll probably catch up after that New Year's.
Probably catch up before the new year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
Take care. Enjoy the cricket. Chat soon.
All right.